Hey everybody, your boy Onyx. So in 2021, I played games. Quite a lot of them in fact. Far more than I ever remember doing in a single year. Altogether, I finished 33 games that had an ending to a story or a campaign mode. So about halfway into the year, I decided that I should review them all in one giant video. And here it is. In total, I played 36 games, and of which 33 had stories I could finish. So for the review, I'll be reviewing the games in the order that I finished them, with the 3 games that don't really have a story kind of safe for the end. And there were also some games that I started in 2021 that I just could not finish. Due to either the story or not captivating me, or the gameplay also not captivating me, or other circumstances, but I will also mention those at the end. And before we get into it, just want to let you know we do have a review scale. It will be listed in the description. We go through TGR Rock or Stone, I forget, it's TGR Stone, all the way to TGR Platinum, our highest award. We don't really believe in numbered scores. They're a very objective statement on a very subjective idea, so we prefer just kind of giving it an award per se and just kind of basing it off of that. A TGR Silver is a good game. It's not bad, it's just middle of the road. So keep that in mind when listening to my reviews. So let's just get into it, guys. This is my 2021 Year in Gaming reviewed.
1, 2, 3, 4.
TGR. The first game on this list is Resident Evil 3 Remake. It wasn't a bad game. It's a game that had good graphics, good combat, because it took the combat from Resident Evil 2 and kind of expanded on it. And it's Nemesis. It's Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, just remade. I wish it was a little longer. I wish they didn't cut out a lot of the story, but honestly, not a bad game. Really enjoyed it. I just think it wasn't as good as Resident Evil 2. It gets a TGR Silver. Next is Resident Evil 7. I guess I just wanted to play through the Resident Evil games that I hadn't played yet to get to Resident Evil Village, which came out later in the year. But Resident Evil 7 was a surprise. I can't believe I skipped out on it the year that it came out. And I'm glad I finally played it. Genuinely scary, great atmosphere, great story, great characters. Honestly, I don't know why I didn't play it. It's really a surprise to me. This gets a TGR Gold from me. Katana Zero. Another game that Rudy had been on me for quite a few years, and I'm glad I finally got to play it. It was on Game Pass, and I really enjoyed it. Nice, short, sweet experience with surprisingly deep mechanics for the type of game that it is, with a very cryptic story that kept me guessing up until the end. Highly recommended, with a killer soundtrack too. TGR Gold. Ghost of Tsushima. One of the biggest games from the last generation of the PS4. It's good. I liked the combat a lot. The exploration of the world at the beginning felt good. And then near the end, I kind of started getting a little bored. Not that the world was bad by any means. Just what you get to do in the world just didn't really captivate me. But good story, great combat, and it looked beautiful. So this is a nice TGR Silver. What Remains of Edith Finch. I cannot, why have I been sleeping on so many of these games? That's going to be something you're going to notice as this list goes on. This is a great game. It deserved all the hype that it received when it first came out. Very emotional. There was a point in the game that I cried. And it takes a lot for games to make me cry. I get emotional. I feel things. But cry? Tears? Yeah. Good shit, Edith Finch. TGR Gold. Bowser's Fury. Oh, I forgot to mention, if I played a little expansion of sorts that took me a couple hours to beat, I put that in as a game, baby. It's my list. I do what I want. Anyway, Bowser's Fury 2021. It came bundled with Super Mario 3D World, which is one of the more underrated Mario games in my humble opinion. And Bowser's Fury was really, really good. Like, they took these ideas and they kind of made them work. And I kind of hope they take what they did with Bowser's Fury, this little open sandbox area with the mechanics and the constant objectives kind of popping up, and put them in a full game. And the next Mario game might actually be even better than what came before. Bowser's Fury, TGR Gold. Cyber Shadow. Another little indies darling that surprised me, very reminiscent of the old school Ninja Gaiden games with a slight search action in there. I really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the really basic story. Sometimes basic stories work, and in this game, it did, you know? Really good graphics, really good music, really simple combat that worked. Tough as nails. Challenged you, but it never felt unfair like the old school Ninja Gaidens. TGR Silver. Friday Night Funkin' weeks 1 through 7. I played this with my son because he's all about the Friday Night Funkin'. And yeah, I know this is kind of like still in release because they're gonna do more weeks and stuff, but I played what's out and nothing has come out since then, so really fun. It's DDR meets Guitar Hero, I guess you could say. I don't know. There's no crazy, plastic peripherals. It's just your keys, but it works. It's fun, and obviously it spawned tons of mods and merchandise and all this other stuff, so it clearly has a fan base. But yeah, nice TGR Silver. This one's a funny one. Nights into Dreams. Fun story. I played Nights into Dreams on my Sega Saturn, my Sega Saturn when I was like 10 years old, and I loved it. I've loved it since. I never beat it though because I didn't have a memory card for my Sega Saturn. I had to restart all of my games. My family couldn't afford the memory card, and if it could, I didn't even ask for it for Christmas. Anyway, long story short is, Nights into Dreams was a game that I started as a child and never got to see the ending. And I finally got to see the ending. I bought a copy of the Steam version, and yeah, I loved it. It's a childhood friggin' game of mine. This is a TGR Gold. Play it. It's good. Little Nightmares 1. Oh man, what a nice creepy game. I love cinematic platformers like this, and this just hit all the right notes. Little Nightmares is a good, scary game. It's a short game, of course, like most cinematic platformers, but they do things that are quite unique with the enemy design and the world design, and the lore is all very unique. Highly recommended if you like those kind of platformers. TGR Silver. Monster Hunter Rise. Oh, baby. 100 hours of my life synced into this title. I absolutely love Monster Hunter Rise until you get to the end game because there's really not much. It's a great Monster Hunter game with some of the best mechanics in the series and some of the greatest some of the best monster designs yet. But that end game is very lacking. I mean, World had way better ending in vanilla. So that's pretty disappointing. I give it a TGR Gold just based on those merits alone though, because the combat, the world design, everything they did is fantastic. So hopefully Sunbreak remedies the endgame issue. Resident Evil Village. Whew. Okay, I was very surprised to see Resident Evil Village on so many Game of the Year lists in terms of just the plain big title of Game of the Year. It's a really good game. I really enjoyed Resident Evil Village. I just didn't think it was that good. However, very good game. I liked that they expanded on the ideas that Resident Evil 7 put forth. It also took so much inspiration from Resident Evil 4, and I couldn't help but smile almost the entire time I played that game. So this gets a nice TGR Silver for me. NieR Replicant version 1.22 whatever. I absolutely adore NieR Automata. And NieR Replicant was a game that I've always wanted to play, so when the remaster was announced, I was obviously very excited, and I bought it on day. Actually, it was gifted to me. I got the collector's edition, the White Snow edition, up there somewhere. And thank you, Tyler, my boy, if you're actually watching this, for gifting that to me. But anyway, NieR Replicant is fantastic with some major issues. The pacing is all over the place, and we get it. It's a Yoko Taro game. You're gonna do and redo certain parts of the game over and over to drill a point across. But Automata, which came later, did it better. Now, besides that, great combat, great side quests, and great story. And by side quests, I don't mean the fetch quest, I mean the other good side quests. But either way, it's NieR, it's Yoko Taro, TGR Gold. Battlefield 5. I haven't played a Battlefield game since Battlefield 3, and I just kind of wanted to play a shooter. Every once in a while, you kind of have that weird sense of, just want to shoot a couple things for a couple hours, you know what I mean? And that's what I did. I booted up Battlefield 5 when we got access to EA Play this year on Xbox Game Pass, and it was fine. It's a very short campaign. It didn't really do much. Kind of forgettable, actually. it felt like they wanted to do more with the stories and kind of get emotional, and they kind of didn't. TGR bronze for me. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission DLC. Okay, again, there's another DLC. It's my list, shut up. But boy, oh boy, I loved Final Fantasy VII Remake. It was my 2020 game of the year. And playing as Yuffie and playing Fort Condor and getting more Final Fantasy VII Remake just... Oh, I can't wait for part 2. The combat mechanics that they introduced with the other characters, that's gonna be bonkers in part 2. I know it. I need it. I love this. This is really, really good. Highly enjoyable. Worth the money that I paid for on day one. TGR Gold. Horizon Zero Dawn. It took me 4 years to finish Horizon Zero Dawn. I didn't really like it when I first played it in 2017. And I kind of didn't like it this year either, but I have to give credit where it's due. The bow and arrow combat is fantastic, the enemy design is fantastic, and the world and lore are pretty intriguing. I just hated everything else. The story was boring, the characters were boring, and a lot of the open world design was just kind of meh. With that out of the way, Forbidden West does look a lot better, but this gets a barely TGR silver for me. You know what? No, it gets a bronze. Cuphead. This was fun. I tried playing Cuphead when it first released, and I could not beat it. I don't know what the hell. I mean, it's hard. It's a hard as hell game. But this year, me and my son, during his summer break, decided to play it together. And we beat it. And what a great achievement. Fun little story. He came out clutching the win. He came out and revived me in the final boss battle. I had died, and he was alive. And he... bam, revived me, and I came and I shot the boss, and I died again, and he kept shooting, and bam, we won. So, dude, my little boy, we did it. Cuphead, TGR Gold, baby. I realized I didn't say anything about the game, just gave you that story, but yeah, it's good. Play it. Forza Horizon 4. Some people might say that this isn't really a game that has an ending, because it really doesn't, but I made the roster and I finished all the event showcases, and from one of our Discord members, that's pretty much the big thing. So, Forza Horizon 4 was the first Forza Horizon game that I've ever played, and I loved it. I'm really, really happy that I got to play it on Game Pass and played with a lot of people on our Discord, which, by the way, check out in the link below. And yeah, just a fun time. It had the perfect mix of arcadey, but also simulator, and I liked it quite a bit. TGR Gold. Hellblade Senua Sacrifice. This was good. Hellblade Senua Sacrifice shows that small developers, or relatively small developers like Ninja Theory, can make really good-looking games that have decent combat, because it does. Hellblade Senua Sacrifice is a good story, decent combat, and kind of crappy pacing. But besides that major issue with the pacing and the puzzles that are being really, really simple, it's a solid game that showed a lot of promise for that the studio could do without help from any big publisher. But now they're owned by Microsoft, and now Hellblade 2 looks incredible. Either way, Hellblade Senua Sacrifice gets a TGR Silver. Donut County. This was a really short game. Like 2 hours. But it was fun. And surprisingly had a deep message. You play a raccoon that controls holes and you suck things up for reasons. You should play it. It's a short game. It's a nice little indie. Really fun. Nice music. Nice graphics. Feel good. Oh, like, just play it. It's cool. TGR Silver. Death's Door. This was a very good game that I feel kind of fumbled the second half. The beginning of this game was super intriguing. The aesthetic, the music, the ambience, it really called to me. I was really enjoying the first couple of hours up to the first dungeon and boss. But after, something changed, and I don't know what it was. The world design didn't get worse, but I feel like the initial impact of the world kind of faded, and I kind of started seeing more of the game behind the facade they put in front. Not to say that it was fake, but it felt different by the end. A really good game, and the ending itself, the final boss, was very memorable and very tough. So based on those merits alone, it gets a TGR Silver for me. Damn, I give a lot of silvers out. Gone Home. Yeah, I played this because I just wanted to play another indie after playing Death's Door, and it was short, and I finished it in like 2 hours, maybe even less. Nice story. It's kind of like a walking simulator, for better or worse. Yeah, TGR Silver. That might be a little, I don't know, I don't know. Just didn't really do much for me that day. Anyway, yeah, TGR Silver. A Short Hike. Now, this game, as short as it can be, was so warm and feel good. You play a little bird that's on vacation, and I don't want to spoil the experience because I think anybody that has access to a Switch or a PC and can play A Short Hike really should. By the end of this very short journey, I felt warm. And the first time that I played it was actually with my son. I watched him play the whole thing, and I played it myself later. And he had this smile on his face when the final message of the game was revealed. And I knew this was something special to make my 10-year-old feel something, as well as my 30-plus-year-old self feel something. So TGR Gold for A Short Hike. Katamari Damacy Reroll. It's Katamari Damacy remade, remastered, whatever you want to call it. It's a good game. If you've played Katamari Damacy, you know what it is. The best part about these games, besides the fun antics you get into it by rolling around and picking stuff up, is the music. I absolutely love these soundtracks, and I think you will too if you like the quirky atmosphere and nature of the games. TGR Silver. Scarlet Nexus. This one was really disappointing. I was looking forward to Scarlet Nexus, even more so when I heard that some developers from the Tales of series helped work on this game. It's got a decent sci-fi anime story and really good combat for the most part, but my biggest issue with the game is that the story was kind of all over the place. A lot, and I mean a ton of dialogue that ruined the pacing for me. It honestly felt like they were trying to make an anime series and they kind of didn't have enough to pad out in between the cutscenes and the dialogue scenes, which also felt really budget because a lot of the cutscenes were just like panels that were kind of moving. Very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. This gets a TGR Silver from me. Warioware Get It Together. Another short game that I play with my son. It took me like 5 hours to finish it with him because playing with a second player makes things considerably more difficult. And it was fun. It's it's Warioware, which, what the, Warioware in the year 2021? How does that even, what? So on that basis alone, I had to play it, and I really enjoyed it. I liked WarioWare from the old game. I loved WarioWare on Game Boy Advance and on GameCube, and was it even on GameCube? I don't know. I liked previous games in the series, and I had to get this one, and it was a blast. It's, like I said, kind of short, but it's worth the $50 that Nintendo asked for it. So I recommend it, play it, and especially play with somebody else because it's really fun. TGR Silver. Tales of Arise. The first Tales of game that I finished. I've played a few of them before, and I just never got around to even taking off into the story, playing a few hours and then kind of dropping them. But not this one. Something about it, whether it was the story or the really nice looking graphics or just the characters, they just grabbed me. And I really like the combat too. Combat was fantastic. So it rose really quickly in the ranks this year. It's definitely top 5 at the very least. Highly recommended. I did a video on it. I'll put it right up here, or is it here? One of these two. And where I reviewed the game. Highly recommended. Check it out. Metroid Dread. Another game that I reviewed with Rudy on the channel in another video, which also here somewhere. Metroid Dread was a fantastic game that is flawed, and I don't want to say much because it's in the review we did. So check that review out for my score. Bayonetta 2. Now this is funny. I have bought Bayonetta 2 twice on the Wii U and when it got the Switch port. And for whatever reason, I never finished it. Both times. So I told myself, you know what? Bayonetta 3 is coming out next year. I gotta finish Bayonetta 2. And I did. I had like 2 levels left. I really don't know what happened with me when I first played them both times, but life, I guess. Either way, I friggin' love Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 3 looks incredible too, so yeah, TGR Gold. Easy. Sin and Punishment, Star Successor. I love on-rail shooters. Panzer Dragoon is one of my favorites of the Sega Saturn era, and Sin and Punishment was a game that was recommended to me by Rain, one of our Discord members, and patrons and subs, so I kind of had to play it after the constant recommending of said game, and I loved it. My God, this game is tough. This game is hard, but it is so good. And the Wii remote, the nunchuck and Wiimote configuration, Perfect for the type of game. It reminded me how good motion-controlled games can really be in the hands of the right developers. I wish that we had more stuff like it, to be honest. TGR Gold. Mega Man ZX. Funnily enough, I bought the Mega Man, Zero and Zero Collection, Advance. I forget the name of it, but it's the Zero games. And I played Zero, Zero 2, and didn't even touch ZX or Advent. And this year, I wanted to play a Mega Man game, so I looked through my collection, found that, played Mega Man ZX. Really enjoyed it, a lot more than I did Zero, actually. A lot of the bosses were really fun and tough, but fair, and it's just Mega Man goodness. I love playing a Zero and playing with all these different, like, suits that you can get and different powers. Very, very fun and very well done. I can't believe I never played this before. TGR Silver. And the last game that I finished in 2021 is Returnal. And guys, I am not trying to be hyperbolic. I can't believe I didn't try to finish this earlier in the year when it came out. But I bought it on day one, and I didn't finish it till almost December. And I loved it. Returnal is a fantastic experience. It is one of the best designed rogue-like, rogue-ish kind of games. And it's just the way that it tells its story, and things genuinely change. You get to a certain point where everything changes, and it blew my mind. So yeah, highly recommend Returnal. Fantastic graphics, gameplay, music, etc. Don't do yourself a disservice if you have a PlayStation 5. Play Returnal. One of the best games you'll play. Even has some Metroid-esque aspects of the genre, the search action. So play it. TGR Gold. And then the other three games that I played with no real story are Guilty Gear Strive, which, oh, Guilty Gear Strive, how I love you. I made a whole video, which again you can check out over here somewhere, about how Guilty Gear Strive made me fall in love with fighting games again. Something that I thought would never happen. So it deserves a lot of praise. It's pretty much a perfect fighting game in my eyes. If you get to the deep meta, deep core gameplay aspects and loops, and you go to the really high-end experience and competitive scene, you are going to find flaws like almost all fighting games. But if you look at it as a fighting game and what it tries to do, it succeeds extremely well. Fantastic game. This got a TGR Platinum. Knockout City. Played this with Rudy and some of the Discord pals. Fun times. That's all I gotta say. I don't even want to review it. It was just fun. Mario Party Superstars. Huh? What? Nintendo listened to the feedback and gave us not only really good online for whatever reason, but the Mario Party we wanted? Really? I'm shocked, and I really enjoyed it. Mario Party Superstars had a lot of characters that I really like to play. I mean, it's Mario Party, whatever. But I wish it had more, like Super Mario Party. And the boards, I also wish we had more. I'm kind of hoping they do a DLC pack at some point or some free updates. But either way, it's a very surprising game with really stable online. So TGR Silver. And then these are the games that I dropped for no particular reason. Forza Horizon 5. I thought it looked beautiful. It was fun to play, but I finished Forza Horizon 4 a couple months prior. I think I was kind of burnt out on the formula, so I didn't really play much of it. Maybe like 5 or 10 hours-ish in between there. Shin Megami Tensei 5. Damn. I bought the $120 collector's edition to this thing, and I regret it. It has fantastic gameplay. It looks pretty good for a Switch game using Unreal Engine. But, man, that's barely existing story really left me feeling nothing. I haven't finished it, and I don't know if I will. Mighty Goose. A nice, fun little, like, shoot-'em-up thing. Not shoot-'em-up. It's a side-scrolling shooter, kind of like Contra, but you can take more than one hit. It's fun. It looks cool. You're playing a goose. It's silly. It's all over the place. I played like an hour-ish, maybe an hour and a half. It was fun. I wish I would have finished it. But yeah. It's on Game Pass. And lastly, Bravely Default 2, and this one hurts. I put in almost 60 hours to Bravely Default 2. No, I didn't. I put like 50 hours. But either way, I put a lot of hours into the game, and I still had so much left to do. And between Monster Hunter Rise and Resident Evil and all these other games that came out back to back to back, I just couldn't finish it. And I really want to. I hope that I do in 2022, but for now, it's on my games I dropped list for 2021. And funnily enough, while I was editing this video, I forgot to talk about a game. And that's Bright Memory. Bright Memory was a really short, felt almost like a tech demo. It was released on Xbox Series, I believe. And it's also on PC, which is where I played it. It has potential, right? It's kind of like this shooter. It's a first-person shooter, but it has like character action mechanics, so it almost feels like a first-person character action game with guns. I really enjoyed it. It has potential. I mean, obviously, the first one, Bright Memory, is not anything to write home about, but Infinite might be great. So, Bright Memory gets a silver for me. TGR silver, that is. All right, and that's it, guys. That's my whole ass year in gaming. I'm tired of talking to this camera. But that's it. If you guys like this idea, let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you've ever challenged yourself to play as many games as you could in a year. I've never done it, and I certainly probably won't do it again. His time is limited, baby. But it was a lot of fun to try and play as many games as I could. And it kind of reminded me of a lot of things. You know, when I was younger, I used to play a lot of games, and I didn't think of the time investment. And this kind of made me realize, holy crap, if you want to play a lot of games, yeah, you needed a lot of time. And it's hard. It's hard, guys. But either way, let me know what you thought. I will probably do this again next year, and it will probably be a very short video. Or at the very least, maybe it'll be different than this. But either way, thanks for watching. I am planning to do another video in the next couple of weeks. Looking back, way back. I've got some old stuff that I want to look at. So I hope to see you there. Catch you later. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more and stay up to date, subscribe, hit the little bell, and join our Discord.
If you want to support the channel, please check out our Patreon or hit the join button below. As always, thanks for your support and thanks for watching.